When we think about the origins of mindfulness, most of us think of Buddhism, but there are also other practices, especially indigenous practices, that can support us in daily life and provide an alternative way of experiencing mindfulness. If you're interested in that, this is your session. Hi, welcome to the School of Becoming. My name is Ingraut, and together with a team of experts and Manage Magazine, we developed a series on mindfulness, in which we explore various aspects and perspectives on mindfulness. Today's guest is Brenda Salgado. Brenda is a traditional medicine woman that has been trained by elders and who has a special interest in land trusts for social good, the sacred economy, as well as ancestral healing for the future of humanity. She has also been the former director of East Bay Meditation Center, as well as the former assistant director of Wisdom and Money. On top of all that, she founded Nepantla Consulting and also found the time to write a book on mindfulness for beginners. That said, this session will focus on mindfulness and indigenous practices. And I'm very excited because this session gives you the opportunity to experience both. With that, welcome, Brenda.
Welcome, everyone, to this morning. It's such a gift to see you here today. I see some folks I know on, and I'm really grateful for you being here with us today. I'm really honored to share some of the things that have been shared with me and a little bit out of my book, Real World Mindfulness for Beginners as well. So really looking forward to being in this time with you. So I'm going to ask for us to start in a way that allows us to create sacred space together. And so I'm going to ask for some volunteers. And then I'm going to put up some slides with a few words. And I'm going to ask for some volunteers to help read those words so that we can open the sacred space together. And all you'll be doing is reading some words off your screen. So you'll have to unmute if you're doing that. And what I'm sharing with you is just a tradition or a way that I've been taught to open space in a sacred way. So just inviting you to try it on with me. Okay, so for who is calling to the east, please make sure you're unmuted, and I'll just be drumming quietly in the background and read aloud.
Spirit of the east, house of light, land of the rising sun, of air, the winds that blow across the lands, and of open horizons, of the gratitude for new beginnings each day. May wisdom dawn in us so we may see all things clearly. We humbly ask for your blessing as we gather. Please join us, Spirit of the East.
Thank you so much. Spirit of the North.
Spirit of the North, house of the night, place of quiet, stillness, of cave and deep earth, place of sacred rains and gratitude for the knowledge, blessings that have come to us with time. May wisdom ripen in us so we may know all from within. We humbly ask for your blessing as we gather. Please join us, Spirit of the North.
Thank you. To the west.
Spirit of the West, house of transformation, land of the setting sun and autumn's whisper, of sacred winds and insights gifted to us. Bless us with peace, which follows a fruitful life. May wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. We humbly ask you for your blessings as we gather. Please join us, Spirit of the West.
Thank you, Katie. So good to see you here. And to the south.
Spirit of the South, house of the eternal sun, place of abundance, fertility, passion, fire, and inspiration, whose warm breath reminds us of summer days. Ignite our hearts with love. May right action reap the harvest so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. We humbly ask for your blessing as we gather. Please join us, Spirit of the South.
And to Mother Earth, the sacred below.
Spirit of Mother Earth, sacred below, you support us each day, welcoming our roots deep into your heart. You nurture, ground, and guide us, giving us sustenance and support. Help us to give thanks always for your bounty and to compost what no longer serves us. We humbly ask your blessing as we gather. Please join us, Spirit of Mother Earth.
Father Sky.
Spirit of Father Sky, sacred above, place where our beloved ancestors dwell, may your blessings come to us now. The countless stars of the night remind us that you are vast and majestic beyond all of our knowing and understanding. Your light shines upon the earth both day and night, guiding our steps. We humbly ask for your blessing as we gather. Please join us, Father Sky.
Thank you. And then I'm going to invite you to place your hands on your heart. This is the place where all the directions meet within us. Spirit of the sacred divine within each one of us. Place of union, love, and reverence. We are so grateful for this gift of life and for the love that guides our way. We humbly ask for your blessing as we gather today. We open our hearts and join with all of our relations in love. It is begun. Thank you, beloved ones. I always prefer to do that together and not by myself. Thank you for everyone who read. It's an honor to be here with you today. So my name is Brenda Salgado. So we're going to be talking a little bit today, and this is just a brief introduction about the time of the sixth sun and Toltec teachings and the Toltec calendar and what time we're in, and also sharing a little bit about my book, The Real World Mindfulness for Peace, as well, and doing some short practices from there that you can come back to and do another time as well. Just ways to get grounded in these times. So for Indigenous people, I'm really grateful for the introduction. I think in a lot of modern society, we get introduced by what we do or titles we've held, and for a lot of Indigenous peoples, we actually we don't ask what do you do, we ask where do you come from, who are your people. And so it's always important for me to start in a particular way by honoring the ancestors and the people I come from and the lands I come from. And so I want to honor my mother and father who are on the left. Carlos and Esmeralda Salgado. I'm the daughter of Carlos and Esmeralda Salgado is how we usually introduce ourselves. And then I also have my maternal grandmother and grandfather on the right. My maternal grandmother, Maria, is one of my strongest ancestor guides. She was also a medicine carrier in Nicaragua. And my parents were both born and raised in Nicaragua and met there. They were married in San Francisco, California, where me and my siblings were raised. And so these are some of the people I come from, and I also want to honor Mariana and Felipe, who are my dad's biological parents and the influences they have in my life too. And then the lands that I come from, on the lower right, you'll see Daly City, California. So this is where I was born and raised, and right next to San Francisco, very connected to those mountains and to that ocean. Places that were places of solace and healing for me as a child, and those places that I felt connected to the earth here in Daly City. And then on the left, you'll see Volcan Masaya in Nicaragua. This area of Nicaragua is very precious to me. Both my mom and dad were raised in small villages surrounding Volcan Masaya, and that's the original territories of the Chorotega people. So I consider that part of my lineage as well. So I'm really grateful to those lands and places for holding me. And then I also just need to honor a lot of the folks that have shared teachings with me, elders who have been patient with me and medicine teaching me. So there's grandmother Amalia Salas, there's Romualdo and Rosalina from Michoacan and the Purepecha lineage, and then Sergio Magaña, who is a Toltec teacher. So I'm grateful for all these teachers who've taught me different ways of healing myself and my ancestral lineage, but also, and remembering who I am and why I came in this time, but also to help in that time with other people to help heal some of those things. And some of the just brief things I want to share that they shared was how we need to get out of the mindset that healing is only individual. Our healing is meant to be collective. in so many traditional cultures, grief ceremonies and healing ceremonies and rites of passage and celebrations are done in community. They're not done alone, which is challenging in this time, right, of COVID and social distancing and all these things, sheltering in place. And then, but technology has been interesting in that way. I've been holding a lot of healing ceremony online and remotely. Also, that talking and therapy is one useful way of healing, but it's not sufficient on its own. That there's culturally many ways to do healing that do not involve talking and thinking, and that we're a little over rely on talking and thinking in these days and not having that in balance with other things. And so mindfulness, breath, energy work, ancestral healing, somatic healing is very, very important for moving some of the energies that we need to do. And also respectful relationship with the natural world and universal energies is key to our becoming our true self, who we're meant to be in this time. So I mentioned that I wanted to talk a little bit about what do Indigenous teachings have to tell us about this time that we're in that may feel really chaotic to you, unstable. I think because of the elders I've been around, I have been getting prepared for this time and understanding this time is coming. So there's kind of two prophecies that I wanted to talk about, or teachings that I wanted to talk about. The first comes from the peoples of South America, the prophecy of the eagle and the condor. And I think it relates to humanity all over the world. But this is the teachings from this lineage. The understanding is that when long ago, when humans were still in right relationship to the earth, to ancestors, and in good community, that the teachings were that all people had to develop a sense of balance and to think about it as having two wings to fly. And one of the wings, so I imagine kind of my right wing, my right arm, is the path of the condor, the path of the heart. My left arm, path of the condor, path of the heart, and intuition, connection with the earth, connection with the sacred feminine energies. For us, there's the masculine feminine energies in the Toltec path too, that are about the Omateo and the balance. It's not about gender. It's more about the balance of energies, like the yin yang in the Chinese system. So the path of the condor, it's important for me, regardless of what my gender is, to develop my heart and my intuition and my connection to the earth and my compassion. And my other wing, the right wing, is the path of the eagle, the path of the mind, the path of the intellect, of doing, of the masculine, of creating in this material realm. And that's important too, to fulfill my destiny here, to fill my Quetzalcoatl state, or my gifts in this time, in this lifetime. And what we were taught is that every human being, regardless of their gender, has to cultivate both wings in order to fly in balance and to honor those different energies in our community as well. So what was taught was that many years ago, that there were people who began to destroy their own medicine around the path of the condor, the path of the feminine, the connection to the earth, their own medicine people, and particularly the women, and that they became out of balance. And that the understanding from some of these elders many, many years ago was that these people were then taking over the world and virtually decimating the people of the condor out of existence. And that a lot of these medicine ways would have to go underground for 500 years until such time in the calendar where they could come back out and to help Indigenous peoples, as well as all of humanity, heal and get back into right relationship. And so if you can imagine a bird who has one wing who's atrophied and one wing that's really strong, it's not flying in balance. And so this is some of the teachings that are coming back out. Indigenous folks from across the continent of the Americas, North, Central, South, do a ceremony every year, every 4 years, and have done so since 1992 to lay down the prayers for this healing for humanity and for all Indigenous peoples to come back in balance. The other prophecy I wanted to talk about, which is less prophecy, it's more calendar and cycles. I think that Indigenous peoples just have bigger connection to natural cycles, cosmic cycles, that has been passed down over many, many years. And so in the Toltec system, we have calendars for all kinds of different things. And some of those are very short calendars that relate to our Gregorian calendar timelines of 365 days or 260 days that are about planting corn or about divination, different purposes. But there's these longer calendars. In the Mayan system, it's called the Baktun. There's a similar one. And then in the Toltec calendar, there's these other calendars that are about the different suns or different periods that the earth is going through. And this understanding is that we're in these 6,625 year cycles, having to do with kind of the evolution, the vibration of the planet Earth, and how we relate to that as humans as well. But not just us, all of the other kingdoms that live on this precious earth with us, that we are part of a family with, that we have forgotten how to be in right relationship with. And so we are in this time in the calendar where we're ending the time of the fifth sun, which is the current 6,625 year period we're in. And we're entering into the time of the sixth sun, which begins in May of 2021. But the influence of that has been happening since 2012, 2008. So you may have been tapped into some of these shifts that were already happening. And this is the time where it takes more prevalence. That's coming in 2021. And I won't go into a lot of detail around this, but I think I do want to point out that there's different times in these cycles that humanity was supposed to be working on some things, learning some things, and that the understanding is anytime one of these cycles ends, that there's a lot of natural disaster, a lot of chaos, a lot of death. And the closest thing I can analogy I can make for you is that when we go to school, we pass a certain grade and then we go to the next grade. And sometimes we pass that grade and we're ready to go next year to the next grade. And that's a transition, a rite of passage for us, new classroom, new teachers, new lessons. And sometimes we don't pass, and that's not good or bad. It just means we're not done with that stage of development. And so you can imagine you might have a friend that doesn't pass and they have to retake that grade next year, and they're not going to move on until they're ready. And those things are not good or bad. They're just developmental stages. And so some of the lessons that humanity has had to learn over these different epochs or times, the first son was the son of dishonesty, of being untruthful with ourselves and with one another. The second son was about being over-identified with pleasures, with addictions, with vices as ways to numb ourselves from doing our inner work. The third son was about ego, control, feeling superior or inferior to others. And then the fourth son was about imbalance of emotions. Are you in right relationship with your emotions? Are you feeling them and moving through them, but not attached to them? And it's something you're moving through. So the extremes of this can be either numbing your emotions, which is very common for a lot of folks, or being controlled by your emotions and identifying them with your state of being as opposed to a phase that you're in. And then the sun that we're ending right now is the knife of justice, which is really a lot about duality, the different isms, whether racism, sexism, ableism. But there's a lot of energy of judgment and shame and separation and us versus them. And you can see that how stoked this is as it's dying. The system is dying. This energy is dying. It's rearing its head to really keep us in this time of duality and separation and us versus them. And I see that as an aspect of that system knowing it's dying and freaking out and wanting to keep us in that fear and separation. The time of the sixth sun, which is coming, is what is called in the Toltec system, Quetzalcoatl consciousness, flowering on our path of destiny, being in our gifts, co-creating with the universe. And my teacher, Seri, has been very clear that, to not get fundamentalist about any of this, that it's similar to unity consciousness, Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness. We've had many way showers that have come to try to show us this is all our divine birthright, and we have to do the inner work, the contemplative work, the spiritual work, the ancestral healing work, in order to realize those things in the human form. And it's really this sixth sun, the fifth sun, there's a cyclical thing of them being more focused outside, more focused on inner work. So the fifth sun was very outward facing. Sixth sun is very inner work facing, and about balance, integration, being on your inner path, clearing karmic and ancestral energies so that you can be who you came here to be in this lifetime, to be of service to the collective. to be in service of helping to change the vibration on the planet, and to be reclaiming our right relationship to our ancestors, to the earth, to each other, and to be a human family again. And I will be starting an online school to help people learn some of these things. And I won't talk about that right now. I want to just jump into doing some meditations with you. We'll do some mindfulness meditations as well as some Toltec practices. So that was a lot. I'm going to take a deep breath in. I know that we have a limited time, so I'm trying to move through our time together well. So I'll share a little bit about the story of this book and how this came to be. Real World Mindfulness for Beginners, Navigate Daily Life One Practice at a Time. I do feel really grateful for this opportunity. Callisto Media had approached me about it when I was leaving East Bay Meditation Center. And one of the things I really was excited by was the partnership, because I had said to Clara at Callisto, I would really love to work on this book, and I am connected to a lot of mindfulness folks, but I would really love to highlight some of the younger generation, more diverse mindfulness teachers who are working in prisons, who are working in low-income communities and in schools, because those are kind of the next generation of mindfulness leaders that not everyone knows about. And so I said, as long as I get to include a lot of those folks, I would love to do this book. While I love a lot of the older mindfulness teachers that I know, they have books and they're well known, and how can we support the diversity in the next generation of mindfulness teachers? And they were open to that. So I'm very grateful for that. And I'm grateful to all the people who said yes to write chapters in the book. It was such a blessing to work with all of them. So now that we're zipping past the presentation, I really do want to make some time to have some mindfulness and practice with each other, some breath practice, some energy practice. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes right now and to sit in a way where you can feel your dignity. And that can mean different things for different people. If you're more comfortable lying down or wherever you are, there's no right, wrong way. Trust in your body. And to take a deep breath in and out. And see if you can invite your breath to be lower and slower in your body. And we're going to be doing a practice called mindfulness of the body. One easy way to practice mindfulness is by noting physical sensations experienced by your body. Your body is always in the present moment, and we can tune into what we are sensing and feeling physically as a way to become more aware and mindful. You can do this anytime and anywhere, even while doing an activity like driving or walking. Just remember to keep a relaxed, non-judgmental attitude about what physical sensations that you notice. So you continue to breathe in and out. I invite you to invite your breath lower and slower in your body. And set this intention for your practice, to be present with your body, your sacred and beautiful body. And decide that you will try to stay in your body for the length of this exercise, to focus on physical sensations instead of thoughts or emotions. And if you find yourself caught in thoughts and emotions, don't shame or blame yourself. Just come back to your body, come back to your home. As you continue taking deep breaths, see if you can let muscles in your body relax that might feel tense. And don't be judgmental or angry if they're tense. Just notice them and see if you can breathe some energy of compassion into those areas that feel tight. Notice any physical sensations that your body is experiencing, like the air in your nostrils as you breathe in and out, the sensation of the air, whether it's warm or cold, the sensation of your feet on the floor, the sensation of the chair that's holding you up, that's supporting you in this moment, contact there. And if you notice thoughts coming into your mind, again, notice them without judgment and return your attention to your body's physical sensations. As you return your attention to your present moment, to your body over and over again, try to breathe into those places that can use a little love right now. And give thanks for our sacred body for carrying us around, for getting us from one point to another. Give thanks to our feet for the ways to make contact with the earth and get us around. If you feel any tension anywhere in your stomach, in your shoulders, again, just breathe compassion into that space, love into that space. See if there's anything in that part of your body that it's trying to tell you about need for exercise, need for stretching, what might be stuck there energetically. And just breathe compassion and gratitude to that part of your body. See if you can breathe in energies of love into your body with your breath. And as you breathe out, see if you can release tension. And if you have difficulty staying in your body and getting lost in thought, just be patient with yourself. This is normal. We can always just return our attention to the present moment over and over again. And knowing that these are great practices for when we're at our computer a lot, when we've been in our head a lot, when we're feeling tight, perhaps when we're having trouble falling asleep. There's so many times our breath can help us return to our body. In a moment, I'm going to ring the bell and we're going to come back in. Just take a few deep breaths to come back in the room. If it feels helpful, you can wiggle your body, wiggle your feet, and wiggle your hands, your toes to help you come back into your body and into our time together. Thank you for that sharing of practice. I'm very grateful again for the opportunity to work on this book. It's organized with short 2 to 3 minute meditations on concentration, on cultivating gratitude, promoting patience, dealing with stress and worry, breaking bad habits, managing anger and hurt, supporting others, coping with grief and loss. So there's a lot of practices there, I think, that are relevant to this time in particular. For helping us make space in our heart for the times that we're in. So I mentioned the time of the sixth sun, and the one thing that I did want to share is that the other thing that many of Sergio's Toltec teachers have told him to expect in this time of transition from one sun to the next, that there's a lot of chaos, a lot of natural disaster, a lot of death, which I mentioned earlier. And then they also mentioned that sometimes we may have disruptions in technology, so that we can get back to connection with the earth and other forms of technology. So I think because of that, I've just been in a place of holding a lot of compassion for the time humanity is in and all that we're seeing right now. And I think being in contemplative practice and mindfulness, putting our feet on the earth, taking the time to move energies for ourselves is really important in this time. So what I wanted to do is share another practice, and one that is more Toltec in nature, so that you have a taste of both things. So what we're going to be doing is working with the energies of Coatlicue, life and death. So in the Toltec practices, one of the things I think that a lot of modern society has done is really connected to the light and to life energies, and very fearful of the dark and the feminine and death energies. Where for some of us, we live in cultures that are very death averse, aging averse, which means that we don't work with the cycles of life in good ways. Like if I look in my garden, I'm really grateful that we have a compost bin. And in that compost bin, we put our old food, and that old food gets broken down by worms and all kinds of natural partners. And that becomes compost that nourishes the sacred corn that we plant the next year. And we do ceremony when we're planting the corn. And so I'm very intimately grateful for the forces of life and death together. And particularly in times like this, where we're experiencing a lot of loss, the importance of grief and ceremony and working with the earth around composting the things that don't serve us, or that are complete in their cycle. It's just part of natural cycles. And so you can imagine this energy that we're doing today is one of honoring the forces of life and death and being in right relationship with them. And so this is going to be an opportunity for you to release to the earth the things that don't serve you. They could be personal things, they could be ancestral things, they could be physical ailments. We'll do a very shortened version of it. This is something I do to store energy all the time so that I can help heal other people in partnership with the forces of life and death. And I don't see myself as a healer in the sense that I'm healing people. It's that I'm partnering with universal energies to help people release the things they're ready to release and to call in the things they're ready to call in. So we're going to take another time to close our eyes, and we'll do this very briefly so we don't have as much time, but it's just a taste and offering. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in and out, and to release all the heavy energies that are in you so that you can be present for this practice. And to take another deep breath in and out, and to imagine and to connect with the universal energy. So connecting with Mother Earth below you and all that she provides for us, the energies of the earth, connecting with the divine above and whatever that represents for you, and our ancestors and spirits, spirit guides that walk with you, to connect behind you with those who came before you, and also connect forwards to future generations that will come after us, knowing that we're part of a lineage that came before, and there will be ones after. As you breathe in and out, connecting with the rhythms, the cycles of the universe, your connection to the trees and the land and the animals. Just knowing that you have a relationship with all of this across time and space, and connecting to that in your heart core. And to take another deep breath in and connect with the energies of today. In the Toltec calendar, it is 3 Malinali, which is a healing ivy. So it's a very auspicious day to do healing work. And we're going to breathe in a particular way together to get into the right energies in a respectful way with the universe. So we're going to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth 9 times. And I'm just going to say 9 in, 9 out, 9 times. And we'll all be breathing together. And breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. 9 in, 9 out. 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 Now let's continue just to breathe deeply. I'm going to ask for the forces of life to come be with us. And we're going to give 4 breaths. So you'll breathe 4 breaths out to be respectful with these energies. We give the best energy of our dreams, best energy of our thoughts, best energy of our feelings, the best energy of our emotions. Shiwawi, 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 Shiwawi. So whatever represents the forces of life to you, just feel that energy in front of you. And now that we've made respectful offerings, you want to breathe in and out and imagine that you're offering to the forces of life all the things that you want to compost, that you want to release that don't serve you. And I'll say some things aloud, but you can say things yourself or think these things and imagine this energy leaving your body as you're breathing out. So I release any ancestral old winds, any ancestral patterns that don't serve me so that it can heal me and heal my ancestors in the ancestor world. I release any illness, any stuck energy in my legs and my feet. Breathe in and out and speak aloud as many things as you can. Remember that it's when we're generous with the forces of life and death, with the things that we're releasing, with our shadows, with our energies that we don't need, that we can partner in good ways. So I release any tension in my shoulders, any negative energies I've taken in from others that are not mine to carry. May be of service to others without taking in their energy. I release any anxiety or worry. I release any trauma energies in my belly that are mine, that are my ancestors that were passed down. Any blocks to being on my path of destiny. Release any thought patterns that keep me small, feeling unsupported, feeling like a victim. I release any thought patterns that keep me from being in integrity with my power or honoring the sovereignty and power of others on their own path. I release any grief and sadness in my heart. I release anything that blocks the medicine in my blood and in my DNA and in my bones, the wisdom of my ancestors that I carry that lies dormant. Release any addictions or vices or ways that I numb myself from doing my work and healing myself. So I've made several offerings to Coatlicque's life, and now I just say to her, and you can repeat after me, I accept you to take my offerings. And as I do that, I allow her to pull the life force of these things out of me so that they can be composted with the earth. Now that I've made offerings to the forces of life, I now ask humbly, because I've offered many things, I can ask for one thing or two things that I wish to have created in my life. So I ask humbly for support to create the Nepantla Land Trust and the Nepantla Healing Center for Healing and Renewal at 13575 Lake Chabot Road, so that I can be the steward and guide and healer on that land, many ancestral healing ceremonies for humanity, for community to heal together. And I also ask for the right circle of stewards to co-steward that land with me. And you can ask for the two things that you want to ask for. And we say thank you. And because we offered many things and only asked for one or two things, we were not greedy, we just asked for a few things, we can now store some energy on our left side for co-creating with the universe, the things we want to create for ourselves, our families, our communities. So breathe in and out and receive energy on your left side from the life forces of the universe to store from your head to your toe the energies to create things that are good for you and for community and humanity, to bring around the shift in this time, to be on our divine path. So storing, imagine all this energy coming into your left side and filling you up with the energies of creation for the things you want to co-create with the universe, with ancestors, with the earth, with your companions of destiny, the beautiful things you want to create in your life. And give thanks for storing that energy. Mateo. And we're also going to do the same with the forces of death. So I'm going to call in and we're going to give our 4 breaths to the forces of death. Best energy of our dreams. Best energy of our thoughts. Best energy of our feelings. Best energy of our actions. Shiwawe, 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 Shiwawe. And we visualize the energies of death being with us in front of us now, knowing that death is part of our life, that sometimes we're meant to go through some lessons and then we need to go to the next stage of development, that we're living and dying all the time to old ways in our growth process. Just like the caterpillar that gets in the cocoon and is destroyed and becomes a butterfly, we have our own stages. So we make all the offerings to Quetzalcoatl's death now. They could be the same things, they could be different things. So make offerings with your breath for the things that you want to compost and release. I wish to release any arthritis, any patterns of diabetes in my family that might live in me and also in my family members, so they might be healthier and free too. I release any thoughts of scarcity, of victimhood, that keep me from my purpose and destiny. I release any negative karma or ancestral karma from the times of the 1st through 5th suns from my crown to be composted. I'll release anything that keeps me from flowering on my path of destiny with joy and beauty and grace. I release any attachment I have to growing only from difficult things. Sometimes difficult things teach me, but sometimes things can come with more ease and grace. So I release any attachment to suffering and victimhood. I release anything that blocks my spiritual and perceptual skills and keeps me from co-creating with the universe and with ancestors and my higher self. I release anything that blocks my staff of power and speaking my truth with integrity and love for myself and respect for the integrity and truth of others. I release any heavy boulders or energies that keep me from my path and purpose. I release anything that blocks my life force. I release anger and rage that lives in my liver for myself, for my ancestral line, and keeps me from my healthy life force. I release any shame or guilt that lives in my kidneys, again for myself or my ancestral line. I release any heavy energies in my abdomen from trauma in the ancestral line. And it keeps me from being fully supported by Mother Earth, and she wants so much to give to me, abundance to be on my path and purpose. I release any ways that I block my own reciprocity and flow with the universe, so that I might give and receive in a healthy balance. So giving all those energies to Quetzalcoatl's death, we thank you, and we say, accept you to take these offerings. And breathe out and allow her to pull the life force of these energies out of us. To compost them so that they can create the energies for new growth in our life, beautiful new things in our life. Give thanks to the earth, the mycorrhizae, the fungi, all the elements that help us to transform and create the ground for new things to be born, new seeds to be planted. We honor you for the ways you try to teach us. And now we can ask for one or two things that we want to give destruction to in our life, that doesn't serve our path and purpose. So I wish to give death to any illness. So ask for the one or two things you want. I wish to give death to any illness and stuck energy in my body, so I can be of good service in this time with a healthy body. And I wish to give death to any patterns of scarcity or lack financially in my family and in my community. Being any ingratitude, any blockages to flow, any imbalance. I wish to break any imbalance we have as a human family, where so many have so much and so few have so much and so many have so little. That we can come back into the sacred hoop of humanity and be in flow with resources in good ways. So breaking any blocks to the healthy flow of resources and community. And because we made many offerings, we now ask to store the remainder of that energy on our right side. So allow yourself to breathe in and out and store the energy of destruction, of giving death to the things that don't serve us, don't serve love, don't serve future generations. So breathe in and out and feel yourself being filled on the right side with the energy to destroy the things that don't serve love and life, that don't serve our path and purpose, to be stored for future use, to release the things that don't serve us, to release the old ancestral patterns that don't serve us, to heal our ancestors, to heal ourselves so that future generations can be more free. So allow yourself to store the energy of death and destruction to release the things that don't serve love and life on your right side. To give death to the things that don't serve your path and purpose in this time. Allow yourself to store that energy to be in partnership with composting the things that don't serve you, that don't serve our families, that don't serve our communities. Allow yourself to be filled up with that energy from head to toe on the right side of your body. So we're in sacred balance. And I say Ometeo to the forces of life and death for allowing us to be in partnership today. May we store this energy in a good way, to do good work with ourselves first, to do our inner work, and to allow that to help us emanate love and our gifts into the world, to bring about a time of shift, the time of the sixth sun, to be in our unity consciousness, our Quetzalcoatl state, to be flourishing in our gifts and bringing beauty and love and transformation through our own small way, knowing that others are also doing the same. Help us to be partners in this time of shift in a good way. May we store this energy with integrity and use it with integrity and love. Ometeo. And on the count of 4, please come back into the room. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ometeo. Welcome back, everyone. Oh my goodness, we're right at 10. Look at that.
Brenda, thank you so much for guiding us and sharing your gift with us here today. Really enjoyed it. I always love to see different ways of like approaching this topic, and I found myself surprised like by this practice because somehow intuitively it felt right. So thank you very much for doing that.
Yeah, I want to close with a quote from Sergio. It is only in the sixth sun that the information can come to light again in order to illuminate the consciousness, both in waking and dreaming states. And this awakening of the dormant abilities which human beings are endowed with. So this is our birthright, and the sixth sun is rising right now. So if you have, want to connect about mindfulness training, about public speaking online with your folks, Toltec energy healing, ancestral healing. We'll also be starting an online school in January for teaching more deeply about some of these things. So feel free to reach out to me.